What's up, everybody? Back with a much anticipated NFL Week 9 Survivor video. Won't waste any more of your time. Let's jump into it. And of course, show the love. Let me know in the comments who you're picking this week. Like the video if you enjoy the content, and subscribe to the channel to keep getting this video and all of our other NFL content week in and week out. Moving on to how we start each and every one of our videos with the potential picks for each week. You'll notice right away a lot of games decided by only 3 points. Some of these home teams really implying that coin flip games at a neutral site here. Certainly a week that I think one, you're going to want to consult the weekly schedules and see what's the best strategic play, but also play it safe for these teams that are at home and are favored by more than a field goal. This is looking to be, even after just a preliminary look, it's going to be a pretty shaky week in Survivor Week 9. I think a lot of leagues are going to get thinned out as a result. Taking a look at the schedules here, the only team that's really on here weekly in and out are these Eagles and the Ravens. The Ravens, their chances are thinning throughout the season. Still like them against like a team like the Chargers or even at home against the Rams. But the Bengals on here too, with the Bills here. Line moving going towards the Bills more, but as the Bengals have looked better, especially if they're taking down the 49ers, certainly can consider taking them at later points during the season. But as for the rest of the crew, not a ton of options for a lot of these guys, so a lot of value on the board here as you get a lot of weaker teams with favorable matchups this week. Talking about the teams to watch out for the most, I just mentioned the Bengals. I think I'm a little nervous for them going up against the Bills this week. Sunday Night Football. It's going to be a very much anticipated game and probably one of the highest watched games this season so far. But I think the Bengals are riding high right now, and I think the public is on them, and they're kind of due for a letdown game. They have been playing great as Joe Burrow and this top team and offensive line has gotten healthier. But I'm still afraid of this Bills team. This is a team that is still, favored to make the playoffs and make a run deep in the postseason. They're built to do so. I haven't played all that great this season compared to what their potential is, but this is still a very strong team. I like what I'm seeing in the offense, getting more guys involved other than Stephon Diggs, namely Dalton Kincaid at tight end, the rookie draft pick. They still have a solid defense. The one thing the Bills really like is the ability to rush the passer. We'll see how that plays, and that's really going to be the big decider of the game against the Bengals team where Joe Burrow isn't always the most mobile with his calf injury. He's looking better and better each week, but that's the way to beat this Bengals team is with the pass rush. I just think the Bills need this one, maybe not need this one, but need to prove to themselves that they still are a playoff caliber team. This is the time for them, an emotional Damar Hamlin game against this Bengals team. Another game to watch out for here is the Raiders at the Giants. -3. This line has moved more and more towards the Giants, so people are agreeing with me to be careful about picking the Raiders here. I'm just not all that impressed with them. I think Jimmy G's getting benched for Aiden O'Connell this game, but even so, Daniel Jones looking to be back for the Giants adds a different dimension to this Giants offense. More importantly for this Giants team, their defense has been playing great the last few weeks, playing very much inspired football, and they've been able to slow down the likes of the Bills and the Jets this last week, and really been able to keep their teams in the game. They faced up against a Jets defense last week that was top 5 in the league. They won't be facing that sort of caliber defense against the Raiders. I think it's a good time for the Giants to compete with a much lesser team, play some solid defense, heavy dose of Saquon Barkley, and then Daniel Jones' legs where applicable. I think that's enough for the Giants to beat the Raiders this game. And last one I think we want to talk about, or maybe a few more, as there's a lot of close games this week. Packers here, -3 on the road, or at home, I'm sorry. Now it's -3.5. I just can't, I would be doing everyone here an injustice if I didn't raise a red flag by the Packers with the way that they've looked, and mainly the way that Jordan Love is looking this offense. This has been one of my least favorite teams to watch all season long, as they have looked abysmal in most phases of the game, opposite of what I thought I would see from this Packers before the season, and especially after their Week 1 beatdown against the Bears. Rams have not been playing all that well, and I think it's honestly a good matchup for the Packers, and I think the line movement towards the Packers is telling. But the Packers have been so bad this year that even in games that they should win, like this one, they haven't pulled out. They only have 2 wins this year. One, as I just mentioned, was the Bears. And that game against the Saints, where they were down 17 or 16 in the fourth quarter, somehow came back and won. So this team has not been playing well, even though they are favored. And I do think they're going to win this game. They know how to shoot themselves in the foot just as good as most teams in this league. Very unlike the Packers, but that's how they've been playing this year. So something to be careful about there. And then I think finally, the Eagles and Cowboys. The Eagles are a better team than the Cowboys, and they should have won this game, especially at home. But in only a -3 game, with the Eagles team that has so many more opportunities throughout the rest of the season to take against a divisional opponent, and a divisional opponent as good as the Cowboys, at least on paper, despite how they've been playing some games this season, it really makes me nervous. Cowboys have a ton of talent across the board and can compete on paper with any team in this league. If they decide to show up and play against their division rival Eagles, it's going to be a long day for Jalen Hurts, who has not looked that great as a passer this year. Yes, he's been slinging the ball to A.J. Brown at wide receiver there for the past 4 or 5 games and done very well at it. But I've seen some uncharacteristic interceptions for him. In that loss against the Jets, he looked very vulnerable. I don't think the Eagles lose this game, but it's certainly not the time to take them in Survivor. The best pick here, a little bit different than normal. It is not the top pick. It is the Saints hosting the Bears here. Tyson Bagent to start for the Bears again has not impressed. I don't think anybody. Was not able to move the ball all that well against the Chargers' poor defense, and he is in for a rude awakening, as is the rest of this Bears offense, as they're facing a top unit in the league with this Saints team. Saints tied for the division lead right now. We're really trying to put some distance in between them and the likes of the Falcons and the Buccaneers, and this is a prime opportunity to do so. I like the way their offense has been playing. I really liked the addition and the cerebralness of getting Taysom Hill involved in this offense. You saw ex-head coach and current Broncos head coach Sean Payton utilize him a lot. Dennis Allen seems to really be giving him his fair share of the offense, and you're seeing some explosive plays both in the running pass game from Taysom Hill. Again, I think the Saints defense dominates the Bears offense, and I think with how poor the Bears defense is, you're going to see a lot of Alvin Kamara between the tackles and out of the backfield catching the ball as well. I'm pretty confident the Saints are going to win this one, and that's who I would be picking this week, quite personally. We'll get up to the Browns later, but the best value here is the Falcons. Little surprise here, Vikings, although they did acquire Josh Dobbs before the trade deadline, they will be starting the backup quarterback to Kirk Cousins, who I can't remember his name, rookie quarterback out of BYU. Pretty versatile dual threat quarterback. I said he ran a 4.6 40, so he's going to be fast, and he's going to be running the ball and utilizing his legs when there's nothing open for him. His receiving core that is already down, Justin Jefferson. But this is Vikings team. You have a rookie quarterback in his first career start. You probably want to lean on the run game. The run game hasn't been too great for the Vikings this year. The Falcons, however, have the best Pro Football Focus rated run defense. So really a storm coming for the Vikings here. Falcons starting quarterback now will be Taylor Heineke, benching Desmond Ridder there, which I think is a great move. Certainly has much more downfield threat as a quarterback than Ridder had. And this run game for the Falcons now, with a balanced offense, will be even more versatile and explosive with Bijan Robinson, rookie running back there, and Tyler Algier, and really anyone that the Falcons throw behind this really solid offensive line. I like the Falcons here coming off a loss to beat the Vikings here against a rookie quarterback. And you can look at the schedule here. When do you like the Cardinal or the Falcons rest of the season? On the road against the Cardinals. If it was at home, I would say go for it. On the road, a little bit different. Haven't been impressed by them. Bye week, of course, not taking them. Divisional opponent that's leading the division, nope. On the road against the Jets and a great defense, nope. At home against the divisional opponent, no. On the road against the division opponent, definitely not. At home against the Colts, I could see you arguing. I don't love it. And then a couple other road games, maybe Chicago, but I don't love that. So this is really now or never, I think, for the Falcons here. Certainly the best pick. They will not be at home against a non-divisional opponent, favored by 5 points again the rest of the season, unless something changes. Great time to pick them now. And not the only team with some value here. I really do like the Colts have good value here. Definitely much more risky, extremely more risky than the Falcons. On the road, you never like that, but they're going against what is perceived to be one of the worst, if not the worst team in football, against the Panthers. Colts coming off a loss, Panthers coming off a win. I think people think the Panthers are better than they are. I really am not buying too much into that. I think it's more coming off a bye week. You had a significant game between the number 1 and 2 pick at home that really favored the Panthers. I don't think they're going to have that same energy and hype as they did the last game. They got their win. They're going to be a little less hungry now. Whereas the Colts look pretty solid, even without Anthony Richardson at quarterback. Gardner Minshew filling in nicely. Really great offensive line play, which we've seen for the Colts for the past few years now, and some great running back play between Jonathan Taylor and Zach Moss. I think that alone is enough to beat the Panthers, who have a poor run defense unit. I expect to see the Colts run on the Panthers all day long and win this game. Honestly, I think they easily cover this -3. I like the Colts to win this one by a touchdown. But, it's good value for a reason. They're on the road. They're only favored by a field goal here. There are much better options here. If you're feeling really risky and on the edge, you go with the Colts. I personally don't have that risk appetite. If I'm going for value, I'm probably sticking with the Falcons, but I really like the Saints, who still have some decent value in and of itself, given that they're not the greatest team in the world. They're not even over 500 right now, but they're playing a really down-and-out Bears team. Browns here is a good game to take, and there's nothing wrong with that. Cardinals can be starting a rookie quarterback of their own in his first career start against this Browns defense. That should play all day, but I just like the Saints more given the situation. The Browns, they should win this game, but their offense has not impressed me as much as the Saints has the last few weeks, and that's where the distinction is. But I do think the Browns is still a very solid pick. And then with the Ravens, I'm just staying away from this game because the Seahawks are a very talented team. And, in contention for this division title now. Seahawks and Ravens, both teams that are top 10 in both offense and defense. So, great matchup here. And I would just stay away from the Ravens as they're going to be facing much weaker opponents in the upcoming weeks. I wouldn't waste your pick on them against a playoff contender right now. And that's the video. I hope it was of some value this week. I really am afraid of a lot of these games that are only favored at home by -3. It's surprising that the Colts on the road is the only one that I give the thumbs up for, but that's because I think they really are 5-point favorites in a neutral site here. They're a better team than the Panthers, and if they come into play with the run game, which is much more controllable through toughness, I think they can get the things done. Falcons going up against a great matchup at home where they're facing the Vikings with their rookie quarterback against a favorable scheme with this Falcons solid run defense against this Vikings poor run offense, and rookie quarterback without the number 1 option at wide receiver for the Vikings. Things are playing the Falcons, and I especially love the Taylor Heineke start. Saints, though, is my best pick just because of how great their defense is. Bears struggle against a very poor defense against the Chargers. They should struggle even more this week. And the Saints, whose offense has come alive the last couple of weeks, I think will keep rolling against a very soft Bears defense. Best of luck in this week. Week 9, it's going to be a tough week. Think long and hard about which team you're going to choose because I think it will make a huge difference this week, more so than others. Consult those schedules again. Look at the strategy. Look at which teams you're going to pick later on in the season and which teams you're not going to touch again, or which teams you never get a better opportunity to pick again. It really matters this week as we're coming down to the wire and some of you are getting very close to winning your league titles. Take extra care this week and throughout the rest of the season, and good luck.